Boys, girls, babes, welcome back to the Jenaya Talks Caps podcast. Thank you all so much for tuning in today to talk some Washington Capitals hockey with me, Jenaya. I am thrilled to have you all here today. Big weekend just passed for our Washington Capitals. Back-to-back wins in New York over the Islanders and then the Rangers. A big 4 points after what was kind of a sloppy, rusty, whatever you want to call it, start in the first game of the season against the Boston Bruins. The Caps outshot the Bruins quite heavily in that game, but ultimately they could not put enough pucks in the net behind Jeremy Swayman, and so they could not come up with a win in their season opener. And so these two games in New York, folks, these were big for the Washington Capitals to get off on the right foot here, get the season started off on a good track. And so we will talk about all of that. But first up here, before we get started diving deep into the hockey, deep into the Capitals' first week of the regular season, I just wanted to give a quick shout out, an acknowledgement really to all of you fine folks. And the reason why I want to do that right now is because our first episode of this season, our season preview episode, was a smashing success across all of the audio platforms. It was the most downloads that we have ever had, even more than our playoff episodes. And so, you know, of course, that does not happen without all of you beautiful listeners out there. And so I just wanted to give a shout out, like I said, an appreciation to all of you guys, not only for tuning in, but I'm sure that some of you must have shared us with your friends, family members, fellow Caps fans, etc. That's the only way that we can see those types of numbers. And so I just wanted to thank all of you guys so much from the bottom of my heart. It really is great to have all of you here and listening and engaged in the conversation. We love to see that. We really do. And yeah, we're building a great community here. Just of a bunch of, like I said, really engaged, really intelligent, really thoughtful Washington Capitals fans. And that is really great to see. And hey, you know what? I will ask one more favor of you guys before we get started here with the hockey talk, that if you do like the show, whether you are a longtime listener or whether this is your first time tuning in, if you like what you hear, please take a second and drop us a rating, a review on your favorite podcast platform, whether that's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever else you like to listen to your podcasts. Please leave us a favorable review, some kind words if you feel so inclined. Those ratings and certainly those written reviews, they make a really huge difference in how Apple and Spotify and all of those other platforms recommend new podcasts to people. Positive reviews go a really long way in getting the podcast seen and listened to by more people, by more Caps fans. And that's really the goal here, right? Is to get more people engaged in the conversation, get more people pumped up about our Washington Capitals. And, you know, that's always really exciting for me personally, because like I said, we're building quite a nice little community here of Caps fans. And it is a lot of fun to get to do this show with all of you every week. So yeah, if you feel so inclined, like I said, no pressure. But if you have a spare minute, please do drop us a rating and a review. We really appreciate you taking the time to do that. And thank you again for supporting the show. All right, so housekeeping done. Let's get to the hockey because we did have, like I mentioned off the top, 3 games done for the Caps so far in this regular season this past week. They had, of course, their season opener, their home opener up first against the Boston Bruins. What can I say about this one? You know what? I'm going to be honest here. I'll take the blame for this one because many of you who know me or who have listened to the show for a while know that my favorite uncle, shout out Uncle Brad, is a big Boston Bruins fan. And I love to chirp this guy. I love to get under his skin. I've always got something to say on Facebook whenever the Caps play the Boston Bruins. And so when the schedule came out for this season, again, I'm just going to be honest here. When the schedule came out over the summer, I wanted to get a little poke in at him, a little jab. And so I had posted something along the lines of, like, I posted the schedule with the Caps' first game being against the Bruins. And I said something along the lines of, like, oh, great, an easy 2 points for the Caps to open up the season against this AHL club. So I knew as soon as I posted it that was probably going to come back to bite me, but I left it up there, and here we are. So yeah, the Caps, they lose 3-1 in their season opener to those Boston Bruins. Like I said, that is 100% my fault. I will take the blame for that one, and I will be better next time, Caps fans. But yeah, always love to get the jab in at my uncle whenever possible. So yeah, 3-1 loss for the Caps in that one, or a 2-1 loss with the empty netter added at the end, however you want to look at it. And then they had the back-to-back games in New York on Saturday and Sunday. They were up against the Islanders first in their home opener, the Islanders home opener, and the Caps played really a pretty darn good hockey game in that one, and they come away with the 4-2 victory. And then they were at Madison Square Garden the next night to take on the Rangers with Pittsburgh Penguins head coach Mike Sullivan, now behind the bench for the New York Rangers. You might remember that from the offseason. So yeah, he is in New York now with the Rangers. And Charlie Lindgren had a phenomenal performance in this one. We will get into that more later. But yeah, via the 1-0 shutout here, the Caps come away with the victory in that one too. And so it is a sweep of the New York teams for the good guys from DC. So we love to see that. So yeah, I mean, going game by game here. And by the way, if you're not aware, if you are listening to the podcast in its audio only version on one of the many podcast platforms, we do have the YouTube channel as well. It's under the same name, Jenaya Talks Caps. The podcast is up on there with a video version if you would like to see my face. If not, no hard feelings at all. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that because I have been doing the post-game reaction videos up on the YouTube channel as well. And so we, go more in depth kind of game to game, like each individual game on those post-game reaction videos. They're shorter than the podcast, so they're a quick watch after each game. But yeah, if you wanted to check those out, we already have them up for games 1, 2, and 3. So against the Bruins, the Islanders, and then the Rangers. But yeah, just for the sake of the podcast here, because I know some people like to consume their content audio only, right? So just going game by game here, like yeah, that game against the Boston Bruins, man. It was a tough watch. I'm not gonna lie. The Capitals, like all things considered, I will say, it was a good effort. Like they definitely, they had the enthusiasm of the season opener. It was quite clear that they wanted to win the hockey game. It wasn't like they didn't show up or anything like that. They pretty heavily outplayed the Bruins for a lot of the game. At least puck possession wise, most of the game was played down in the Boston Bruins end of the ice. The Caps outshot the Bruins 36-21 for the hockey game. But yeah, they lose 3-1 with the empty netter at the end there for the Bruins. And yeah, I mean, a lot of these shots for the Caps, like they had the 36 shots, but it never really felt like many of them were very dangerous. Like they didn't really put a ton of pressure on Jeremy Swayman in terms of like actually making him sweat. There was never any real threat, largely because the Caps just weren't putting people in front of the net. Like they didn't have a lot of net front presence in this game, something that they certainly did look to correct for game number 2, and they certainly did correct in game number 2. And it was something that was so consistent for the Caps last season was their net front presence. So yeah, they kind of forgot to do that in game number 1 here. So it was a lot of just clear looks for Jeremy Swayman to make his 35 saves in this hockey game. The only goal in the game for the Washington Capitals came from best goal scorer in the league, according to David Pastrnak. That would be, of course, Tom Wilson. He tied the game for the Caps in the third period. The Bruins had a 1-0 lead on a goal by David Pastrnak, and then Tom Wilson tied it up in the third period, albeit very briefly, because the Bruins did get a power play right after that, and they scored on it to retake the lead 2-1. That would ultimately be the game-winning goal by Elias Lindholm on the power play for the Bruins. But yeah, Tom Wilson here getting things started for the Caps, getting this game tied up briefly. I feel like he scores the first goal of the season for the Caps a lot. I'm not sure. Maybe somebody could check that for me. Let me know in the comments. I'm kind of too lazy right now to look it up for myself. But yeah, I feel like he scores the first goal of our seasons a lot. He also scores the first goal of our Stanley Cup playoffs a lot. I know that for sure because I have commented on that before, that he seems to get the first goal of the playoffs a lot for us as well. So maybe that's what I'm thinking of. I'm not too sure. But yeah, it seems like Tom Wilson, he always gets things started off on the right foot for us. So he gets the first goal of our season here, assists to Jakob Chychrun and Aliaksei Protas. And yeah, I mean, aside from, the Caps having a good shot total in this game, Jeremy Swayman seeing and saving almost everything, a nice goal by Tom Wilson. The power play really was the story for the Caps. They went 0 for 5 with the man advantage. That is not great. I will say it was better than the box score would indicate in terms of like the looks that they were generating. They did create quite a bit on the power play in terms of like getting a lot of scoring chances. They had, I believe, 11 shots on goal on those power plays. So they were generating for sure. They just weren't able to finish. Again, first game of the season. You kind of forgive that a little bit more than you would like at the end of the season, right? But yeah, for sure the power play has some room to improve. So yeah, 3-1 final, unfortunately, for the Caps in their season opener on home ice. Certainly wish for those fans that they would have got to see a few more goals for sure in that home opener. I know I have a good friend, Gil, who was at the game. He and his wife, I believe it was for her birthday. So yeah, for their sake, I certainly wish that the that the Caps would have scored a few more goals, made it a little bit more exciting. But yeah, ultimately it's the first game of the season, right? So the Caps, like I said, they would look to bounce back in a big way against the New York Islanders on Saturday, and that they would. They got off to a great start in this one. Actually took a 4-0 lead in this game before the Islanders would eventually get a couple of power play goals later on to make it, the final 4-2 score. But yeah, the Caps jumping out to a 4-0 lead. They got things started very early in this game, just a minute and 50 seconds into this game. Martin Ferravari, the defenseman, jumping up, getting his first goal of the season. This was a great play here. The captain, Alex Ovechkin, keeps the puck in at the Islanders' blue line. He was in perfect position there, covering the point just as he should be because Ferravari had jumped down. Captain Ovi in the right position, covering the blue line for his defenseman, and he's able to keep this puck in, makes a great play to keep the puck in at the Islanders' blue line, like I said. He turns, sees that he has finally some net front presence there in the second game of the season, turns and fires to get the puck at the net, and Martin Ferravari picks up the rebound and deposits it into the back of the net past Ilya Sorokin. So 1-0 Caps, just a minute and 50 seconds into that game. Aliaksei Protas. Wow, this guy. Man, what can we say about Aliaksei Protas? I could go on and on and on about this kid. Amazing player. I said it last season, like it's long past time to get an Aliaksei Protas jersey. If you're looking for your next jersey, because yeah, I mean, he's on the 5-year contract extension now. Just 24 years old, still had an incredible season last season, was one of the top 5-on-5 point scorers in the entire National Hockey League, up there with guys like Connor McDavid at 5-on-5. So yeah, just an incredible player. He's so good defensively as well. And yeah, he gets his first goal of the season here, assisted by Jakob Chychrun and Tom Wilson. This was another great goal here. Like Aliaksei Protas, he stops in front of the net, doesn't do the flyby. That's important. Picks up the puck from Jakob Chychrun and fires it past Sorokin. So 2-0 Caps. That's still in the first period. Go to the second period here, and we have got a Ryan Leonard goal, baby. His first of the season for the 20-year-old rookie. What a shot this was. My goodness. This kid has some release. I've said it before, but you don't get back-to-back 30-plus goal seasons at Boston College in the NCAA Division I without having a wicked shot, right? And he showed it off here. Boy, did he ever. To be fair to the Caps power play so far this season, this Ryan Leonard goal did come just as a Caps power play was expiring. So it wasn't technically scored officially as a power play goal, but it pretty much was because, the penalty was just expired. Ryan Leonard gets this puck and absolutely rips it past Ilya Sorokin. I commented to a few friends that I actually had to rewind this goal a few times to see exactly where the puck entered the net, like where exactly he shot it, because he shot it so fast that I didn't even see it on the screen, honestly. Great shot by the kid here. Dark horse, like I said, for the Calder Trophy. That's probably some smart money if you can afford it to put a few bucks down on that. Because he looks incredible to start this season. He looked great all throughout the preseason, and he still looks great three games in to the regular season. So assists on that one to Jacob Chychrun and Aliaksei Protas. Again, picking up already his third point of this young season on that goal. And then... Speak of the big man yet again, Aliaksei Protas as well has the Caps' fourth goal of this hockey game, also in the second period, to give the Caps the 4-0 lead. It's his second goal of this hockey game, fourth point already of the season in just the second game of the season, and this is an unassisted beauty. Makes the beautiful defensive play in his own zone, takes the puck off of the Islanders, and then just takes off after it. Burns past the Islanders defenseman, wheels, baby. This kid is so fast, such a great skater for being 6'6". Like I said it before, it is unfair for a 6'6" monster like him to be able to skate like this. But he just burns past the Islanders defense. Picks up the puck and wires it past Sorokin. It was a great shot. He didn't even take any time to settle this puck down. He just literally skated up to it and just fired it right away. Didn't settle it down at all. So Sorokin wasn't really set for it, wasn't really ready for the shot, and he whips it past him 4-0 Caps. That goal is unassisted. And then, the Islanders, they get a couple of power play goals after that to make it somewhat interesting. The Caps, they would challenge the second Islanders goal in this game. They issued a coach's challenge on it. That was Matthew Schaefer's first NHL goal, the number 1 overall pick, if you're not aware, for the New York Islanders. The defenseman, Matt Schaefer, it's his first NHL goal. But the Caps did issue a coach's challenge on it. And they still were not, Spencer Carberry and his players still were not happy after the game that this goal was allowed to count. They really felt that it should have been called back and that Logan Thompson should have been left with only having let in 1 goal during this game. But ultimately, the refs, they decided to count it, just as they always do when the Caps issue a coach's challenge. And so the goal stands, and unfortunately that meant, right, that the Caps were right back on the penalty kill again after just having 2 power play goals scored against them. So it was 4-0. It's become 4-2 on 2 power play goals, and now they're going back to the penalty kill again on the delay of game, right, for the failed coach's challenge. So not an ideal scenario for sure, but the Caps, they dig in and they are able to kill that one off. And so the score remains 4-2. That is how the game would end. That would be all she wrote. So great game for the Washington Capitals. They generated a lot more offense than this one, put the puck in the net. It was great to see. Pretty comfortable game for the most part when you take a 4-0 lead. So that was kind of a nice, relaxing Saturday for us, right? And just a great win for the Caps to get their first 2 points of the season. And then the very next day, right? If you guys don't mind, I'm going to take a sip of my tea here. Really wish I had a co-host so that somebody else could talk while I take a drink. But we do what we can, right? So the next game against the New York Rangers was kind of an interesting one. It was the only game in the National Hockey League on that day. because I believe it was all 32 teams played the day before on the Saturday when the Caps played against the Islanders. And then the Sunday, nobody plays, right? Just the Caps and the Rangers. So it was the only game of the day, and there was only one goal scored in the entire game, but we don't care because that goal belonged to us, right? So 1-0 victory for the Washington Capitals against the New York Rangers. Man, I will say, Charlie Lindgren, this was his first game of the season. Logan Thompson played the first two. Charlie Lindgren comes in for this one. He saves 35 of 35 New York Rangers shots. He owns them, man. Like, he owns the New York Rangers. He had, coming into this game, it was over a 940 save percentage in his career against the New York Rangers. Well, that's up above 950 now because he gets the shutout here, and a 35 save shutout at that. So yeah, man, he owns them. Him and Tom Wilson, like co-owners of the New York Rangers franchise. So a great game by Chucky in his first game of the season. He finishes the game and has not allowed a goal this season. And yeah, the Caps get the 1-0 win because of a great goal created by the captain, Aliaksei Ovechkin, for this only goal of the game. It was a great play by Ovi. Anthony Beauvillier, he gets the goal, his first of the season, but this was really all Aliaksei Ovechkin here. Makes a phenomenal play. Shot pass to Anthony Beauvillier down low, right in front of Jonathan Quick it was in this game. And yeah, I mean, he did this on purpose. You can tell that they practice it all the time in practice. Ovechkin, he picks up the puck. He turns, takes a look, sees Beauvillier getting to the front of the net, waits for a second to let him get there, and then fires a shot pass just like perfectly right on Beauvillier's tape. All Anthony Beauvillier had to do here was have his stick on the ice. And yeah, it ramps up off of his stick and goes top corner past Jonathan Quick. So that is the only goal of the game. It is the game-winning goal. It gives the Caps the 1-0 victory. I should mention as well, defenseman Declan Chisholm playing his first game of the season and his first game as a Washington Capital. He gets the secondary assist on this one. So that is obviously his first point as a Washington Capital. Congratulations to him. And yeah, Aliaksei Ovechkin assists in back-to-back games. I thought he had, a pretty rusty start to the season in game number 1 against the Boston Bruins. But like I was saying to everyone, like I was expecting that because he missed almost the entire training camp with a lower body injury, right? So like he pretty much missed the whole training camp. He did play a couple of preseason games at the end, but that was pretty much it for him. Like he didn't get the whole camp that everybody else got. And that's tough enough when you're 25, he obviously is 40 years old now, so it's going to be even tougher. So yeah, I was expecting some rust from him. I think we saw some rust from him in game number 1 against the Boston Bruins, but he looked much, much better in these next 2 games in New York. And yeah, it looks like he's just going to continue getting better with every game. So a couple of points for him to start off his season. Caps power play again was 0 for 1 against the New York Rangers. They only had the 1 power play, but they did not score on it, so they're still technically on 0, right, for power play goals for the season. They haven't had a ton of opportunities other than in that first game against the Boston Bruins. I believe they had just 2 against the New York Islanders as well. So that's 8 power plays for the season so far through 3 games. So not even 3 per game. And yeah, they still haven't scored on it. Although, like I said, that Ryan Leonard goal did come right at the end of a Capitals power play. It was essentially created by the Capitals power play, all of the pressure that they had put on, and then the penalty expires and it's technically not a power play goal. But I mean, there's certainly... If there was one thing right now as a Capitals fan that you want to see improve, it's definitely some pucks going in the back of the net on the power play. Everything else has been pretty good so far. Like the defense looks pretty good. They really didn't allow anything to the Boston Bruins in the first game. of the season, David Pasternak's goal. It was just like a floating wrist shot that he kind of floated through everyone through traffic from the blue line. And it just kind of, luckily for him, found its way to the back of the net through a ton of screens. They gave up the power play goal to the Bruins and then the empty netter. So really not a ton at all at even strength for the Boston Bruins in that game. The New York Islanders, obviously, the Caps did not give them anything at even strength. They scored 2 goals on the power play, and nothing at even strength at all. So that's great, right? So if you're keeping track there, that's 1 5-on-5 goal for the Bruins in the first game of the season, and then that's 0 5-on-5 goals for the Islanders in game number 2. And then obviously with the shutout against the Rangers, that is 0 5-on-5 goals for the New York Rangers against the Caps as well. So you're 3 games into the season and you've given up 1 5-on-5 goal to the Boston Bruins. That's it. None to the Islanders, none to the Rangers. That is pretty good, like I said. So you've got to love the Caps defense right now at even strength. Offense is starting to look, quite a bit better. They generated a lot against the New York Rangers as well. They did miss like probably 6 or 7 wide open nets though. Otherwise they could have had a lot more goals for sure. But they were creating the chances, which is what you want to see, right? The Bruins game, like I said, it was a lot of like shots from the outside and just, Jeremy Swayman seeing everything, nobody in front. The Islanders game and the Rangers game were a lot different. The Islanders game, obviously they scored 4 goals, created a lot, all 4 of those goals, obviously, at even strength against the Islanders as well. And then against the Rangers, like I said, they score the 1 even strength goal to win the game, 1-0. But they could have probably honestly had like 4 or 5 more goals if they hit some of those wide open nets. So they were creating a lot. So offense looks pretty good, at least at 5-on-5. But yeah, we do need to see the power play pick up. We need to see the penalty kill probably pick up a bit as well. Although they have had some big penalty kills already at key times. Like they've given up some power play goals, but they have kind of shut it down for the most part when it mattered, other than that first game against the Boston Bruins when, like I said, they looked pretty rusty. But yeah, they had the big kill against the New York Islanders. Once the Islanders had scored a couple of goals on the power play, they had, turned it from a 4-0 game into a 4-2 game. And then the Caps get the humongous penalty kill after that to keep it 4-2, right? To prevent it from becoming 4-3 with a lot of time still left in the game. So yeah, big penalty kill there to keep it a 4-2 score against the Islanders. And then they had a couple of big penalty kills against the New York Rangers as well. The Rangers 0-2 on their power play. They had 2 power plays. The Capitals had 1. And yeah, the Rangers, obviously they get shut out. So they're 0-2 on the power play. A couple of big kills for the Caps in that one as well. So yeah, overall, I would say their game at 5-on-5 looks pretty good. The main thing that you want to see improve right now, if you're a Capitals fan, is probably definitely the power play. Other than that, goaltending. How lucky are we, you guys? Seriously. I'm just going to grab another drink here. You guys think about that while I grab a sip of my tea here. That's kind of a philosophical question, but seriously, how blessed are we to have these 2 guys in our net? You look around the league right now, teams are absolutely desperate for good goaltending. Desperate. Claiming guys off waivers, trying to trade for anybody they can get. Desperate, right? The Caps have 2 guys who, Logan Thompson last season was one of the very best starting goalies in the entire National Hockey League. He should have been nominated for the Vezina Trophy, in my opinion. He was robbed. But yeah, he was one of the very best starters in the National Hockey League all of last season. Won 31 games, only lost 6 games. He is unbelievable. And then you have, if Logan Thompson needs a night off, you're turning to Charlie freaking Lindgren, who could be a starter on a lot of teams in this league. So it is a very good situation that the Washington Capitals find themselves in. Yeah, blessed. Blessed. What else can you say? So I think I'm going to call it a night for that one. We've gone about a half hour here. And yeah, talked about all 3 games this week. Plus, I'm kind of starting to lose my voice here. I think I am catching a little bit of a cold. But I thought that I would gut this one out for you guys because I promised to do an episode every single week that I can. Caps, their next game is coming up on Tuesday against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Tampa Bay Lightning, kind of an interesting start to their season. They're 1-2. They did beat the Boston Bruins today to finally earn their first win of the season. Kind of a slow start for them, given what it seems like everyone in the mainstream media kind of predicted out of their team. A lot of people had them being pretty good this season. I saw a game the other night that they were playing against the New Jersey Devils, and Tampa Bay at the end of the night had like 13 shots on net. So that does not look anything like people thought that they were going to look like. So we'll see what they bring on Tuesday against the Washington Capitals. But yeah, they did just pick up their first victory of the season. So who knows? That could have them pretty amped up and ready to go. And like, you're only 3 games into the season, so it sounds bad, but like, you're still only 1-2, right? It's not the end of the world. So the Caps, for their part, they're 2-1. They'll look to go 3-1. And yeah, that game comes at you, like I said, Tuesday night. So we will be back on the YouTube channel after that one with your post-game reaction video. And yeah, as far as the podcast, like I said, going to try to pump out an episode every single week for this season. And yeah, I mean, the reason why I'm doing that, frankly, is because of you guys. Like, you guys keep showing up, you keep tuning in, you keep, like I said, being a part of the conversation, right? Like, you guys are so engaged and everybody wants the episodes to come out. So here I am making them, even when I can barely talk, losing my voice here. But yeah, so we will be back, like I said, on the YouTube channel after the Tampa Bay game with your post-game reaction video, and then we'll have a podcast episode again for you next week. So thank you guys so much. Again, I know I already said that. I've said it a few times already, but seriously, thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you all so much for listening. I appreciate you guys so much. If you haven't done so already, and again, if you feel so inclined, please do click on that subscribe button for me as well. We would love to have you here with us for the entire season. And yeah, we'll have lots of content coming up throughout the season. So if you don't want to miss out, make sure that you click on that subscribe button if you have not already done so, like I said. So, babes, it has been an absolute blast, an absolute pleasure. And yeah, we will be right back here, like I said, next week on the podcast with another episode for you. So thank you all again one more time so much for listening. Y'all have a great night. Thank you so much. Love you guys. And as always, let's go, Caps.